11.2 is nearly here, and as always, it'll bring a big chunk of mounts for you to go and collect. There'll be about 37 mounts in this patch, with about 13 of those being from the store or the trading post. So with that, let's take a look at the mounts and how you'll get them in the patch. It wouldn't be a new patch without a new faction for you to rep grind, and one of those factions will be the K'aresh Trust. This faction is going to have 3 mounts locked in it. The first mount up will be at Renown 9, and that will be Devourer. And you won't just get this mount straight up, instead you'll get given a quest chain. This quest chain will start in TWW and will take 4 days, which is pretty reasonable for one of these. Normally these quest chains take multiple weeks at times. And the nice thing is this won't cost you resonance crystals, so your resonance crystals are safe for this mount. The quest chain's quite straightforward. You'll go to the city, you'll have a quest to do. Most of them are very straightforward in terms of just go speak to X person, click on X thing. On day 3 you will have to kill quite a lot of mobs to gain meat, and then on the final day you'll have to go into the phase diving feature and kill some more difficult mobs like the elites that are found in there. But once you gather all the components that you need, you can hand those in and you will get yourself the mount on the 4th day. The next mount at Renown 15 will be the Ruby Void Creeper, and this will cost resonance crystals. You can purchase this within TWW, and this will cost about 8,000 resonant crystals. And then finally we have the Terror of the Waste, which looks pretty good. This will be at Renown 19, and this will cost around 11,000 resonance crystals from the same vendor. In terms of gaining reputation with this faction, it's going to be a pretty straightforward Renown faction. You're going to have the main campaign giving it a chunk of renown, getting you to like Renown 4ish. Then you're going to have the side quests giving a good chunk of renown as well. You'll have these one-time lore items for you to go and click. There'll be 10 of these, giving around 250 reputation. There'll be the weekly dungeon quest. There'll be reputation from the weekly quests that you can find within the zone as well. And then there'll be some miscellaneous things like weekly rares and stuff that will give a little bit of extra rep too. You can also do the bi-weekly world quests. You can put a contract on for a little bit more rep, but mostly the sources you're used to from the previous patches. There's no kind of unique gimmick or anything really too special around the reputation with this faction. In terms of how much renown you'll get outside of the one-time sources, you should be looking at around 2 renown per week, so this faction will take about 2 months to complete. Next up, there'll be some mounts tied to the new phase diving system that is coming in the patch, but this system is quite straightforward in terms of how it works. Essentially, once you get your artifact cloak later in the main campaign, you'll have access to these panels that you can click on, and clicking this panel will take you into an alternate phase of the exact zones we're already in. They don't really change the way the landscape is. It's just going to be the mobs will change, some of the quests and world quests will change, but in terms of general gameplay it will remain fairly the same. And one of the weekly quests will require us to go into that phase zone and kill the rares or the rare elites, take part in world quests or just killing mobs, and you'll fill up a bar. Once that bar is filled, you can hand in the quest and you'll get 7 of these untethered coins. And getting 7 is actually quite a generous amount for this kind of content. It's not too long to get this quest done. It can only be done once per week per warband, but 7 will allow you to purchase the first mount up if you want to, as it will cost 7 currency, and that will be the acidic void creeper. Or alternatively, after a couple of weeks, you'll be able to pick up the lavender K'arroc for 10 of these untethered coins. And both of these are purchased from the same vendor, which we'll find on the Overlook. And there's nothing you need to do to unlock these. Once you've got the currency, you can just straight up purchase them. At least you can currently on the PTR. There is an additional mount we can get within the phase section as well, and that will be the Phase Lost Slateback. And the way this is going to work is you need to finish the achievement called Phase Lost and Found. Now this won't be accessible in week 1. And to be able to see these orbs that we need for the mount, you will need to get your cloak to stage 2. You can head to the Overlook to find your current progression, and you will need 3 threads per upgrade. The threads are going to be locked per week, meaning you can only get 3 per week, so you will want to get to stage 2. And once you are on stage 2, you can now start finding these orbs. These are going to kind of be mostly hid away behind rocks, behind structures, things like that. Once you run through it, you'll have a chance of either getting a kind of transmog item, some of them look very, very good, or a grey item. And the way this works is once you find all of these items, these transmog items, you'll finish the quest and get rewarded with the mount. There's going to be a lot of these around, and they do stay in the same place. I'm not too sure if multiple people can run through the same orb, but they do respawn eventually in the same location. You just need to kind of be doing a lap around the zone. I will have a map shown while I'm talking, showing these spots that I've found them in so far, but there's probably tons more that I've not come across. Additionally, on the following week, when you're able to hit the 3rd tier orbs of power, you will now have access to finding orbs from mobs killed within the phase diving. So eventually it'll probably get to the point where people find a really, really good mob farming spot, and you're just going to be out there killing mobs over and over again, getting hyper respawns and farming the orbs that that way. Probably going to be the better method. Either way, get all of the transmog pieces, finish that achievement, and you will get yourself the Phase Lost Slateback. The next mount to talk about isn't 100% confirmed, but I'd say it's like 95% confirmed because I couldn't find anywhere else that seemed like a source that would give this mount. But if it is from this source, then it will take you about 5 weeks to obtain. And that is going to be the Translocated Gorger. The way this is going to work, or at least I think it'll work, is there's going to be these Devourer swarm events that take place in the zone. You'll see it on the map. You'll go out there, you'll kill some mobs, you'll fill up a bar. Once that bar is full, a big elite guy will spawn. You'll kill that guy and you will get one of these devoured energy pods. And we need 20 of these pods. There's going to be 4 of these events that we can take part in per week. And once you've done your 4, that is it for the week for your account. You can still do the events again, but you're not going to get another devoured energy pod. You do need to be making sure you're taking part in each of the individual events. There'll be 4 that happen across the zone. So each one you complete will be locked for the week. So you'll need to wait for the next one to spawn, which you should see on your map. Go out there, complete it, and keep doing that until you've got your 4 for the week. Once you get all 20, it's just assumed that you're going to combine this together and summon some kind of rare or something along those lines, and killing that will give you the mount. Next up, we have 2 drops that come from rare spawns within the zones. The first will be the Pearlescent Crowlusk, which will drop from Umrag, and we'll find this within the phase diving version of the zone, so you will need to make sure you're in phase diving, and we'll find this in the Tempest Fields, kind of to the south. It's going to have around a 2-hour-ish respawn timer, maybe a bit less than that. Killing it is very straightforward, it's quite an easy rare to take down, and killing it will give you a chance of getting that mount. And this is going to be a rare that you can kill once per day per character, so you can bring your ults out to have multiple chances at getting this mount as well. The next one is going to be from a rare elite, and this is going to be killable once per week per character, and this we'll find over in the Oasis, which is in the Tempest Fields as well. And the mount we can get from this is Thab's Last Lunch, and this is going to drop from the rare elite Thab. Now the way this works, I am not entirely sure. It just kind of started spawning on the PTR. I'm not too sure if they forgot to add it or if we kind of progressed the Oasis enough over the weeks for it to kind of start spawning. Who knows? So if it doesn't show up in the earlier stages of the patch, it might just be that we need a couple of weeks of the kind of Oasis to progress before it does start spawning. If that isn't the case and it just spawns for everyone and it wasn't in the PTR initially, then this thing has around a 2-hour respawn as well. So you just head over to the Oasis, wait for it to respawn, and you'll be able to start killing it. It is very obvious when it has spawned because there'll be a large icon on your map, so you can just head out there and try to kill it. However, this is going to be a lot more difficult to solo and is actually one of the more interesting rare elites they've added to the game. The way this will work is you'll head to the Oasis, you'll go into phase diving, and a portal will spawn kind of near the panel where you can go into phase diving. You'll go near the panel, you'll be able to, or the portal I should say, you'll see an extra action button and it'll take you up to the platforms where the rare is. Once you're up there, you'll be able to jump between the platforms using the kind of sides. You'll see like a color difference on the ground, and this will jump you around the platform. You can make use of that if a rare elite puts like a black puddle on the ground and you can jump to another platform. It's also going to put a very, very heavy debuff on people, which is going to tick for a lot of damage. So you definitely want to use a defensive or something along those lines if it is put on you. And then it'll also put another debuff on people where they'll kind of explode in like a star shape. Not too sure how much damage or what this will do if it hits people, but once again, try and take this away from players because chances are it's going to kill them or do something not very good. And keep doing that until you manage to get this elite down. Once it is dead, you'll all fall to the ground. You'll have a parachute though, so that's fine. But if you do still have that dot on you, you can't really do anything, so you might need to be ready to click off the parachute so you can save yourself. But either way, you'll get to the ground, you'll loot the rare, and you'll have a chance of getting that mount once per week per character from that rare elite. Next up is Terror of the Night, and this is attached to an achievement as well, which is Vigilante. And basically all you have to do is take part in the wanted bounty rares each week. You'll find these in Tazavesh. There'll be a kind of guy, you'll speak to the guy, you'll be able to pick up the bounty from the billboard, and then once you go through the requirements, you'll fight the rare, and that is your bounty done for the week, and that's it. That'll be the only bounty available for the week. So essentially you just need to keep coming back every week until you've killed all 6 of the different bounties available, and once you've completed all of those, you will complete the achievement and get yourself Terror of the Night. There's also going to be a mount tied to another piece of weekly content, which is going to be the ecological succession of the Oasis, and this content is basically you're helping build up the ecosystem here by doing various tasks. You'll have some little quest lines to do each week as well, and you'll have a cache to get, and this cache is obtained by either helping in that area, doing the daily / weekly quests, clicking things within the little zone to kind of help the ecosystem, or actually doing those Devourer events we talked about earlier. Will give you an anima item that you can hand in once per one of the events. You'll gain 4 of the items that we can turn in as well, which will help your progression bar. Once you finish the progression bar, you'll get yourself a Wriggling Pinnacle cache, and inside that cache will be a chance for the Curious Slateback. Now we actually tested this on alts to see if alts could have a chance of getting the mount as well, and we actually did get one on an alt. Not too sure if that's intended or will remain that way for launch, but as things currently stand, we were able to use alts to have more chances at this mount per week. But either way, finish the task here, get yourself that box, and you'll have a chance of the curious Slateback. Next up, we'll be moving on to talk about stuff related to the raid. There will be the raid Renown returning, where you'll be able to get a capped amount of raid Renown each week. It'll be 1 per week as previous, except this time it'll cap out at 15 instead of 20, so it won't quite take you as long to get all the rewards. This faction will be the Mana Forge Vandals, and it'll have 2 mounts attached to it. The first will be at raid Renown 8, and that will get you the Vandals Gearglider, and then the next will be at raid Renown 14, and this will get you Bone Freezer, which is a Void Creeper. So unfortunately not quite as cool as doing the raid Renown for the Undermine raid. There'll be some other mounts we can get from the raid as well though. There will be a raid ahead of the curve. This means doing the raid on Mythic or Heroic, killing the last boss will get you a quest item, and finishing that quest chain will get you the Royal Void Wing, which looks decently cool. And then for doing the final boss on Mythic, this will get you the Unbound Star Eater, which looks pretty good as well, and that is going to be the reward for Mythic Raiders. There will also be a Glory of the Omega Raider, and that will be the Umbral K'arroc, which looks alright, but there are a few other K'arroc mounts available, so it kind of takes away from it a little. Next up, there will be the Seasonal Delver's mount once again. Not really too sure why they went with this idea of just giving a new seasonal mount instead of the main one just being more customizable, but it is what it is, it's a +1. So speaking to Bran in Season 3 in Dawn Gal will get you on a quest chain. Finishing that quest chain doesn't take very long, will get you the Delver's Mana Skimmer, and getting the extra skin from doing the question mark looks pretty damn good as well. Next, we'll have some mounts for the Mythic Plus season. They're returning with the same idea of giving a mount at 2k and at 3k as well, and those mounts we can pick up will be the Azure Void Flayer from Keystone Master and the Scarlet Void Flayer from Keystone Legend. Once again, pretty good looking mounts. Next up onto PvP, and the first one up will be the Vicious mount for the season. That'll be the Vicious Void Creeper, doesn't look too bad. And then for the Gladiators, this will be the Astral Gladiators Fellbats. We're keeping with this Fellbat theme. Originally though, this mount looked kind of bad, actually kind of really bad, but people spoke out about that and they did revamp it, and now it looks pretty good, honestly. Definitely more of a respectable mount to pick up. Brewfest is also getting a new mount as well, and that will be the Brewfest Barrel Bomber. It's listed as coming from the boss for the event, which normally the Brewfest Coda and Ram come from, so it's assumed that doing that event will also now have a chance of giving you the Brewfest Barrel Bomber as well. There are also 2 mounts that I didn't have enough information to give a confident say on where it comes from, so these are going to just be my current theories on where they come from until they can kind of be confirmed. So the first will be the Resplendent K'arroc, and this is listed as coming from the world quest The Hope of K'aresh. But world quest flags are a little bit of a bait. For example, Slateback is listed as coming from a world quest, but it clearly doesn't. It comes from a rare elite. You kill that, you get a quest chain, you finish that quest chain, you get the mount. Also, the Dark Fuse mount that comes from the event in the zone, that is also listed as a world quest drop as well. Both of those obviously not really being world quests. So it's saying it's a world quest doesn't exactly tell us where it comes from, but my current theories are either the world boss. We haven't had a world boss drop for a while, and the world boss is kind of eating a bird that looks identical to how the mount does, and it just looks kind of odd. So my thoughts are maybe you get an essence of this bird and then you revive it through the ecological stuff at the Oasis. The next guess is that the Oasis itself, completing all of the quest chains, will give you this mount as a reward, a payoff, because currently doing that stuff feels very, very lackluster. You don't really unlock or get anything from doing this week to week apart from the normal stuff you've been getting. So I do feel like it has to have a pretty good pinnacle reward, and that mount could be it. And then finally, maybe it comes from the end of the campaign. This would be a little bit weirder though, but it does fit in with the whole Hope of K'aresh and what they're trying to do in that zone, so maybe that's the case as well. But I think most of my money is probably going to be on the world boss, so we'll see what happens. The next mount up is going to be Trustee's Gearglider, and the source for this mount reads as just redacted, so we do not get much information on where this may come from, but the fact they're adding in the new Tazavesh hard mode with also a no death version as well, there's probably a good chance it comes from doing something within the hard mode, very similar to Mechagon, things like that, where doing it a certain way will give you a chance of getting that mount drop at the end. That would be my guess at least, but maybe this is a full-on secret with like secret criteria for kind of working towards unlocking and obtaining this mount. Who knows? And then finally, I did mention there was some mounts coming from the store/trading post. For those, we'll have 4 of these Fell Elects. We're also going to have 4 of these Headless Horseman Chargers. We're also going to have 4 of these various different colored Griffins. Look pretty good for a Griffin mount, honestly. And then finally, we have the Breeze Strider. So these are going to be the new mounts you can expect to see on either the trading post down the line or in the store as well. And that brings us to the end of the mounts we can obtain in this patch. Overall, kind of okay, kind of not too great, but we're probably going to get showered with interesting mounts in the 0.5 and 0.7 patches potentially, or in Legion Remix. So either way, I'm not going to complain too much. It's some stuff to work towards in the patch until we get more content anyway. In terms of those two mystery mounts, once they are figured out, if they're interesting enough to cover, I will make individual guides for those, so do look out for that. Outside of that, look out for more guides coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.